Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel, Easy Sewing with Tyke. My name is Taiwo. Today, you will be recreating this gorgeous dress with me. Though mine is slightly altered, it is not as long as the style inspiration, and also I added sleeves to mine. And lastly, mine has a princess that style line. So, if this is something you are interested in, then you want to watch till the end. Now, if today is the first time of coming across this channel, you're welcome. A round of applause to you. Thank you so much for stopping by. You will love it here. To all returning subscribers, you're welcome as well. Shout out to you all. You all are the MVPs. Thank you so much. Now, if you're yet to subscribe, what are you waiting for? Kindly hit the subscribe button. Like this video if you gain value, which I'm sure you will. Put on the post notification so you don't miss any of our tutorials. Share, okay? You don't want to enjoy all this goodness alone. Also, I would love to know what part of the tutorial you like the most today, okay? Now let's get started. Starting with the lower part of this dress, that is the half length to the hem. Now, that lower part of this dress is divided into two: the center design and the side design. So the place I'm cutting now is the center design. So here's what I'm going to do. The shoulder to the half length is 17 inches. So I'm going to place my 17 inches on that chalked line, which is my start point. I'm going to place my 17 inches on it that way. Then I'm going to impute the full length of the dress plus allowance. The full length of the dress that we're working with is 42. I'll be adding 2 inches allowance to that. If it's 1 inch allowance you want to add, it's optional, and I'll be rolling that across at the lower part. Then I'll be adding half inch to the upper part this way, half inch allowance for joining this lower part to the upper bodice when I cut it. Okay, so I'm going to roll that across. Now the next thing to do is on that half length line, I'm going to impute the waist measurement. So the waist measurement divided by 4, I'm going to mark it there. Then I'll be adding 1.5 inch allowance for sewing allowance. I'm going to mark it. Now you want to determine the break point. I'll be indicating all this on the screen. So there are different variations of the style, but for the purpose of today's tutorial on the style we are creating, I'm going to make my break point 5.5 inches below the half length. Okay, so you can see that I'm taking my measurement from the half length, not from the allowance. So you want to take note of that. Now I'm going to roll all of that across. That is my break point. Now that we've ascertained the break point, the next thing to do is to determine how wide you want that center to be, how wide you want it to be. Now the best bet is you use your bust span measurement. So now usually my bust span is 7.5, but for the purpose of today's tutorial I'll make it 8 inch. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. Remember that our fabric is on fold, so I'm going to go ahead and start marking my 4 from that break point, from that 5.5 inch below the half length. I'm going to mark the 4 inch like so all the way to the hem line, and I'm going to roll it across to have a straight line. Now the next thing to do is to make this area curvy. You just want to give it a curve like so. Now if you want to work exactly with what I worked with, you want to come down by 4 inches, and at the lower part, then at the side 3 inches. But you really do not need any measurement for this. You just want to give it a curve till you arrive at the curve that you are fine with. So remember that the combination of the waist measurement and the allowance that I have there is 10 inch. The waist being 8.5 and 1.5 inch for the allowance is 10 inch. On that break point, you want to add 2 inches to whatever your measurement is and mark it out. For me, this is 12. So from the waistline to that break point, I'm just going to connect it like so to have a sort of like an A shape design. After which I'm going to go ahead and add half-inch allowance like so all the way around that curved part that I'm going to use to join it to the gathered part. I'm going to go ahead and add half-inch, after which I'm going to cut it out. So here is what the front looks like after cutting. So now I'm going to go ahead and place this on another folded fabric to cut out the back pattern. So the space that you can see there is for the zipper allowance. I left 1.8 inch for the zipper allowance. So there's nothing much to do at the back. You just need to add your zipper allowance for your back pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out now, like so. So like I always do on this channel, we have to slant the front that way at the waistline. You just want to come down by ½ inch and slant it all the way to the side like so. And now we are done with the center design of the lower part of this dress. Now that we are through cutting the center part of the lower part of this dress, it's time to cut the part that will be gathered. So, and we need some measurements. The first one being the length. From that big point, you want to measure out what you have from that place to the hem line, and I have 23 there. And also from that, your 4 inches, you want to measure what you have to the side. I have 8 here. Bear in mind that when I join the front to the back, that is going to be 16. This is going to be 16, though at the end of the day it will not be up to 16, because of course we are going to join it with half an inch sewing allowance. But it's better that it is more, that way you have more fabric to gather. So I have 16. So take note of those two measurements. We are going to use that two measurements to cut out the fabric that we are going to gather at this part. So I've gone ahead to cut out the fabric that will be gathered. So remember that we have 16 as the width. So 16 multiplied by 2.5. 2.5 is the least that you should multiply this by. Depending on how full you want the gathers to be, you can multiply it by 4, 3. But 16 multiplied by 2.5 is 40. And this fabric is unfold. So I have 20 there. You can see the reason why we need that 16 inches measurement. But you can go ahead and multiply it by 4, 5, depending on how gathered you want it to be. So this is folded into 4 for both the two sides, and the length that I have here is the length that I got when we took the measurement, which was 23 thereabout, though is a bit longer, but I intentionally made it so I'm going to adjust it and correct it. So to do that, you want to place the front design on it this way, that center design, you want to place it on it this way. You want to make sure that you shift it to the edge as much as possible, so that you don't cut off all the fabric that you are supposed to gather. So you can see that that's supposed to be the actual length. So I'm just going to give it a curve like so at the edge. Just follow through what I am doing on the screen and you would get it. So I discovered that what I have is too much, so I'm going to shift it back so I don't end up cutting off all the fabric that I'm supposed to gather. So I'm going to shift it back like so, and I'm going to redraw the curve. Then I'll go ahead and adjust the length that way. So of course, it's just going to be straight all the way, after which I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. And here is me showing you what to expect, how it's going to look like. So this is it. This is what you are to expect. Let me put the front and the back together at the side. Let's assume we've joined it together at the side. This is how the gathered fabric is going to be between the two center design at the front and at the back. So now it's time to move to the upper bodice. Starting with the front upper bodice, I'm making a regular princess dart, not bustier, just a normal princess dart. So that's my start point that I chalked out. The first vertical measurement I'll be putting down is the chest line, and I'm working with 8.5. I'll measure that all across and roll it across. And the next vertical measurement after the chest line is just the shoulder to the waistline, which is the half length, and that is the full length that I have there. Remember that I'm working with 17, so I have 17.5 there. I've already added the ½ inch allowance. The next thing to do now is to impute the shoulder measurement at the start point this way. The shoulder measurement is 16, sorry, 16 divided by 2 is 8. Then I'm going to take the same measurement on the chest line also, after which I'll connect both together in a straight line like so. Now the next thing I'll be doing is to put in the bust span measurement for that princess that style line. So the bust span measurement is 7 inch. That's supposed to be 3.5, but because I'm cutting directly on the fabric and I will not have the opportunity of adding my allowance, so I'm going to add the allowance to it. So I'm going to mark out 4 that way instead of 3.5. So I'm going to mark out 4 from the chest line and roll it all the way to the waistline, which is the half length like so. Now on the chest line, I'm going to impute the bust measurement there. The bust measurement divided by 4. I will chalk out what I have. Then I'll be adding my sewing allowance. Then on the waistline also, I'm going to impute the waist measurement and I'll be adding the sewing allowance. and I'll be connecting the two measurements like so. The next thing to do now is to plot the front armhole. I'll be coming up by 2 inches. On that 2 inches mark, I'll be coming in by ½ inch. Then all I have to do is to connect the 3 points together, connect the ½ inch to the shoulder measurement, to the shoulder line, and then to the bust measurement like so. Then from the shoulder line, I'll come down by 5½ inch, and with my free hand, I'm just going to connect it all the way to the bust bar measurement like so, just to have a curve to form the princess dart style line. Now at this point, you want to extend that princess dart style line by 2 inches the way you would have done if it was a princess dart bustier, but I forgot to do that while drafting, but I corrected it when I was about to sew. So you want to take note of that. Extend that line by 2 inches so that your fabric will be balanced when you are sewing. Next is the neckline. So I'm working with 4x4. 4x4. Then I'm going to come down by 1 inch at the shoulder, from the shoulder that way, and slant it all the way to the neckline for the shoulder slope. Then I'm going to continue with the neck measurement. So that's 4x4. I'll connect it all the way like so. This is what I have after cutting out the neckline, the armhole, and the side. So I won't cut out the princess style line yet. I want to use this pattern to cut out the back. Before that, remember that the front half length is usually longer than the back half length. If you have watched my video on how to take accurate body measurement, how to draft your basic bodice pattern, then I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So for the purpose of this tutorial, the difference is 1.5. So to make sure that the front and the back match up at the sides, because when I want to cut out the back now, the length is going to be 1.5 inches shorter than the length for the front. Remember that the half length for the front is 17. So when I'm cutting the back, that will be 15.5. So at the sides that way, I'm going to measure it and connect it to the dart line, and I'm going to cut it off because I do not want to take a bust dart on this pattern. Remember that the method that we use to eliminate this difference is by taking in the bust dart on our pattern, but because I do not want to take the bust dart on this dress, I'm going to be using this instead. So I've placed another fabric on fold to cut out the back pattern. You can see that I've added my zipper allowance. You can see that the front pattern is longer than the back pattern at the length area. The neckline that I'm using for the back is lower than the front. It is 4x6. After which I would eliminate zipper bulge at the back by coming in by ½ inch at the waist that way and connecting it all the way to the chest line. But you want to make sure that you return this ½ inch at the side. You want to make sure that you return it like so, so that there won't be shortage in your measurement. And also I have to alter the armhole. Remember that the back armhole is usually different from the front armhole. The ½ inch that I took away from the front armhole, I have to replace it at the back. So now that I'm done with this alteration, I'll go ahead and cut it out. Now this is my back. I'm gonna have to cut it out. You can see the armhole, the neckline, the length, the zipper area has all been adjusted. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut through the princess dart style line, after which I'll go ahead and cut out facing for the neckline, since I won't be lining this dress. Then we'll proceed to cut out the sleeve. For my sleeve, I'm going to go ahead and put in the cap height. The formula for that will be on your screen. Then the full length, as you can see, I'm going to roll the cap height across. On the cap height line, I'll go ahead and input the bicep measurement. I'll be adding my sewing allowance. The total that I have there, I'll subtract 1 from it and put it at the hem of this sleeve. Then I'm going to connect it at the side. For the sleeve curve, I'm just going to use freehand. But if you want to know how to cut your basic sleeve perfectly, I have a detailed separate video on that. The link will be in the description box. I'm just going to use freehand to draw my curve, but as a beginner, this is not advisable. Now my sleeve is ready and it's time to move to the sewing machine. Now here's the front pattern. I'm going to cut it through, then I'm going to take the side, not the center, the side, and I'll be placing it on another fabric like so. So remember that I said that I forgot to add 2 inches to the princess line style line. Yes, I'll be adding it now. Then I'll be connecting it to the armhole like so, and I'll be cutting out another one. So when you are drafting yours, just make sure that you add the 2 inches before you cut it off, so that you will not have to draft another one like me. The reason why I'm adding these 2 inches is so that it can balance out. So now I'm going to place it side by side this way, and starting from the lower part, the waistline, I will start joining it using half an inch. You just want to join this gradually and slowly all the way. Now you can see that it is matching up at the armhole line. There's no excess and there's no shortage rather. If there's excess, you can trim it off. So I'll go ahead and join the second side too, like so. So this is what I have. The next thing to do now is to attach the facing at the neckline. But before doing that, I'm going to go ahead and fold all the edges of the facing like so neatly. After which, I'm going to place the right side of the facing on the right side of the fabric like so, and I'm going to sew it at the neckline using half an inch. After which, I'm going to go ahead and notch it so that it can lay flat. Then I'm going to stop stitch on the facing. I'm just going to stop stitch on the facing like so. Now it's time to join the front upper bodice to the front lower part, that center design. You want to notch the midpoint of the lower design and the upper bodice so that you make sure that the midpoint matches up. Then you'll be joining it together using half an inch like so. Going through the same process, I've attached the facing to the back. The next thing I'll be doing is to add the dart, is to take in the dart rather. So the bust span measurement plus the zipper allowance, I'll be measuring it out that way, starting from the zipper area. Then the height of the dart would be 4 inches. Now I'm going to fold it at the point where I have marked like so. Then I'm going to take in the dart. After which, I will also attach the lower part of the back to the upper part of the back at the waistline, just the way we did for the front. I'm going to attach the two this way. After which, I will place the two together this way on top of each other and sew it at the zipper area all the way from the neckline to the hem. Now if you have your zipper, now is the time to fix your zipper. I do not have my zipper as at this time when I was filming this tutorial, so I'm just going to be closing it off like this. I'll be fixing my zipper off camera much later, but if you have your zipper, you want to go ahead and fix it now. So the next thing to do is to join the two together, both the front and the back. You want to join it together at the shoulder. So here is how I usually join my shoulder together, especially if it has a facing or lining. You just want to sandwich one of the two in between the other one and the lining and the facing. Just follow through with what you can see me do on the screen. So by the time you sew it this way and you turn it, you are going to achieve a neat finish like so. After joining the two at the shoulder, you want to go ahead and join the two at the side. Input the bust measurement that way, input the waist measurement, then you want to just slant it out this way. So I've gone ahead to join mine at the sides. The next thing to do now is to trim off the armhole area for the front. After which, you want to reshape the front armhole just like we did when we were drafting it. You want to come up by 2 inches. At that 2 inches point, just come in by half inch and connect it all the way to the sides and to the shoulder. Yes, it's time to attach that gathered part to the sides. I've gone ahead to attach one. Now I'll be taking you through the process of how I achieved this. So you want to take your fabric that way, then you want to run your gather stitch. So I'll be doing mine manually, and to achieve that, I'm just going to run a loose stitch at the upper part that way from one end to the other. Locate the midpoint and notch it like so. Now at one end, you want to separate the two thread. You want to take one part, you can choose either the upper part or the lower part. Then you just want to start pulling it like so. You want to pull it, do not pull it too hard so that the thread doesn't cut. So I'll keep pulling it till I get to the center. Then I will move over to the other side. Now I chose the upper rope. Now at this other side, I'm going to take the lower rope. You just want to alternate it, okay? Then I'll start pulling it and repeat the same process all the way till I get to the center, like so. Now this is what you want to achieve after gathering it. So you want to locate the midpoint that we notched earlier, and you want to match it up with that side. So I'm going to be holding it down with the pin so as to make the fixing easier, so that I'm sure that the midpoint matches up. So now that I've located it and I've held it down with my pin, I'm just going to start attaching it together using half an inch like that, from one lower part to the other, from one hem line to the other rather. So I'm going to show you what I have once I'm done. So this is what we have so far. This is what we have at the front, and here is how it looks like at the back. Now to the sleeve, I'll be folding it at the hem that way using 1 inch, after which I would locate the midpoint of the sleeve and match it up with the shoulder line. Then I'm going to go ahead and attach the sleeve all around the sleeve opening, the armhole curve, using half an inch or quarter of an inch. After fixing the sleeve to the armhole curve, the next thing to do is to sew it off at the sides this way, and the sleeve is ready. So the final thing we'll be doing on this dress is to fold the hemline. So I'll be folding the hemline like so. And voila, the dress is ready. Now, did you gain value? Did you learn something new? Did you enjoy the tutorial? If the answer to all of this is yes, then kindly let me know in the comment below. Hit the like button also. Share, okay, you don't want to enjoy all of this alone. And subscribe if you are yet to. You can also follow me on other social media platforms. It's Easy Sewing with Tyke. Till I see you in my next tutorial. Bye.